now let's turn our attention to the energy issues and the cost of living and all of the problems we've got there with Professor James Woudhuysen. He's a visiting professor at London South Bank University, expert in technology and energy. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much for joining us. Well, you know, among the problems, we're not prosecuting crimes, we're dealing with food prices, we're dealing with inflation, we're dealing with all of these other issues. There's no doubt at all that whoever is Prime Minister next Tuesday, after we found out who the next Tory leader is on Monday, they are facing an in-tray to battle all in-trays, are they not? But crucially, when we're looking at stats like the highest food prices, largely down to Ukraine war, but also the energy costs of producing food, but also the idea of this is absurd, a 22.4% inflation rate next year. What is the solution to that, quick or long term?
Well, long term or medium term, we've got to get fracking, we've got to get drilling in the North Sea more than we are doing already. I noticed that Doug Parr, the chief scientist at Greenpeace, says it will take 33 years or so to revive the North Sea further. He's basing his estimate, his forecast, on the Committee for Climate Change, which are the same people, Sir Gummer, Lord Deben, and the teenage scribbler Chris Stark, who want us to adopt heat pumps and who do whole projections and forecasts for electric vehicles without considering the second-hand car market. Only 8 million a year compared with the 2 million that are sold new max. So I don't trust their, oh, well, it'll all take forever point of view. More immediately, we have to hurry up on fixing the rough storage unit. We have to improve the safety of our gas networks, given recent explosions. We shouldn't have, in the 2010s and a little earlier, failed to buy long-term gas contracts, and that's why we're in the mess at the moment. So we better revive some of those.
Well, a lot of what you're saying, though, is about long-term stuff. There's a fascinating video that's done around in social media of Nick Clegg when he was Deputy Prime Minister after 2010, talking about how there's no point investing in these nuclear power plants. That's not the answer to any of our energy problems right now, because that nuclear power plant, even if it went ahead today, wouldn't come on stream until 2022. And you just think, we've spotted the problem. So many bad decisions have been made over the last, not just 10, 12 years of Tory governments, but under Labour, absolutely undoubtedly as well, but particularly since net zero policies and have been brought in. Well, I mean, long before then, even the Climate Change Act back in, 2008, was it? These mad policies to sort of basically throw everything at renewables and just not think through how long it would take and what the consequences would be in terms of supply of reliable, affordable and secure energy, and this total lack of long-term thinking. I'm genuinely, as a long-term journalist, you've been around, I follow these things. I'm shocked yet again by how abjectly hopeless our politicians and our civil servants are on these issues.
Well, yes, the bias in favour of renewables is quite extraordinary, and the argument that Greenpeace and others make, and indeed Nick Clegg, as you say, is that it'll all take forever to do fossil fuels. Well, that's a reason to get going right away, thank you very much. Because, the longer you postpone, which they have been postponing, the more of a mess we're in. You ask about short-term solutions, very difficult to see some. We accept to sign some long-term contracts. We're going to go through a lot of pain. I should say, Julia, that the Goldman Sachs prognostications about more than 20% inflation, that's all functioning as a mechanism for imposing a recession. That's the first thing that Liz Truss will do. She will raise interest rates and prevail upon the useless Andrew Bailey to do that and jack them all up. And the result is that there will be a major attack on working people in this country.
And that's the reality. We're all going to be suffering, but some people are going to be suffering a lot more than others, because people on average, again, it's not just the very low paid. She's talked about as the most likely winner of the Tory leadership contest, targeting help at those who most need it. But as even some of our, cabinet ministers right now, like Nadhim Zahawi, the current chancellor, saying even people on 45 grand a year, which is a good income, will be struggling to pay their bills. People will be struggling to pay their mortgages, paying for their food bills. Everything is coming. This is, we were told a few months ago this was going to be a blip. This is a major, long-term, huge financial hit. People are going to be colder and poorer for years to come, aren't they? And And this has been as a result. People say, oh, it's all about Ukraine. It's not all about Ukraine. And even so much as it is, a lot of that is down to a failure of the West to act seriously and give serious messages to Russia about, we will not allow you to take Ukraine without punishment. But so much of this is down to very poor long-term decision-making by our politicians of all hues and by the people who are supposed to advise them, the so-called experts and the civil servants.
Well, this is right. I mean, I'm a forecaster, Julia, and you only have to go to Neil Ferguson and the forecast of death to know how corrupt and useless most of the forecasters are, especially about energy. They see a high gas price. They say that's going to continue forever. Therefore, they invest in renewables. They do a lot of fiddling with the speed of installation of the renewables and the prices that will be charged from them. And the result is I wouldn't start from here. So it is very worrying. I should add that, already some people are saying, well, the crisis will test solidarity between EU member states, the Ukraine crisis. That's an understatement. There's already a crisis within the EU on lots of, particularly around Poland and Hungary, and then continuing in membership. But the divisions within the EU, in order to confront the Putin menace, have been there for some months now.
Indeed.
And they're only going to get worse.
Absolutely. Professor James Woudhuysen, we'll have to leave it there. Huge thanks to you for joining us. He's a visiting professor at London South Bank University on Technology and Energy. Thank you for that.